And now for something completely different.
Horror has technically been a part of Minecraft since its inception, whether it was through eerie cave noises or the mythical hero Bryn. Maybe it was because babies played Minecraft.
Hello?
Or because there was actually something scary back in the beta days that is now all but removed. Bar a few notable exceptions, maybe because of this lack of scary business, or some other outside force, not naming names, recently Minecraft has seen an explosion of interest in its horror elements, via modders, tubers, modders who are tubers, and fanfic writers, creating new indescribable fears about this humble little block placing game, adding form to the uneasy feeling you get while caving through dwellers, or mysterious stalking Herobrine type entities. Hamers Jamers, I'm Hamer, and I'm here to rant about how the most popular form of Minecraft horror really doesn't work, like, at all. In my humble opinion, of course. If you like Scary Teeth McGee screaming at you and running while plays, then I can't stop someone from enjoying McDonald's. But if you're someone like me who is dissatisfied with these style of mods, then watch along the rest of this video. And make sure you sit through every ad with your hands on your lap and eyes facing forward, or else Scary Steve here will make you scary plead for your life, as I delve into why these dwellers don't work, and what I think would be a good evolution for Minecraft horror. So, to help me illustrate my points in an internet-friendly numbered list, I'll be enlisting the classic 5 faces of Scary Steve, as you all know well. Starting with Face 1, what is Minecraft horror? I'll first cover what little horror elements are already in vanilla Minecraft. First is the aforementioned caves of the beta days, back when Minecraft was a more solemn experience. There was no multiplayer, no villages, and not nearly as many animals as there are today. Beta Minecraft was quiet and dark, and that's what made it scary every time you entered a cave. The only noise you were supposed to hear were your own footsteps and blocks breaking. So your little decroded heart filled with fear when you heard this noise. Simple, effective, childhood trauma-inducing experience that we all know and love. Maybe, I don't know how young or how old the people watching this video are. Next is Herobrine, who started off as a creepypasta about the creator of Minecraft, Hatsune Miku's dead brother who haunts the game. All of which is pretty much fully auxiliary to vanilla Minecraft, bar one mention, the patch notes. In every update since Herobrine became an internet boogeyman, removed Herobrine has been a part of the patch notes. I could talk so long about how this single line of text is the best example of horror in a game like Minecraft, but all I'll say for now is, it created the perfect witch's brew for lingering fear. Typically, every sound in Minecraft has a source. Zombies groaning, creepers hissing, skeleton vagina bones rattling, but the cave noise is untraceable. You're never sure what quite make the noise. Definitely doesn't sound like a cave. It's not dripping, it's not air brushing through the walls. It sounds like something's creating that noise, always leaving room for the possibility, what if it's Herobrine, finally coming to round the next corner, and boogly your woogly dooglies to death. But those are just the OG Minecraft horror experience. The next 2 examples appear much later into Minecraft's lifespan, the Creeper, the Warden, and technically the Elder Guardian. Because don't tell me you didn't jump for Jove when you saw La Curse trail across your face. These are unique mobs that spawn in Pacific biomes that each have unique, spooky mechanics to deal with. You know, the Warden is purely sound-based, forcing the player to be blind and can hear whenever you run or break a block. And the Cracker, well, he just plays a good old game of slap ass when you're not looking.
Hey buddy, I think you got the wrong door. The leather club's 2 blocks down.
These are the 4 instances of horror elements in Minecraft, and are used to enhance a specific mood. Cave noises, obviously, just make caving a more tense experience, and Warden type mechanics, they exist to add variety to different areas of Minecraft, because if you didn't have the Elder Guardian jump scare, for one, you wouldn't know where the fucking ocean monument is in the middle of the ocean, and 2, it would be the same as any other structure you just blow a hole into to steal its juicy, tender loot. Warden, Cave Noise, and Herobrine. Each of these form the mother sources that can create good Minecraft horror. But what's important to vanilla Minecraft is that these elements only ever enhance your experience and don't take away from the overall feel of Minecraft. You know, it's like a good garnish sort of soup, or a well-buttered biscuit at Red Lobster for only $2.99. At the end of the day, you're still minding, cracking open succulent crab legs and crafting, just with a faint sense of dread in the back of your mind as you dip into the butter sauce. Fuck, I'm hungry right now. I should not be recording while I'm fucking feasting. If modern horror mods stuck to these three elements, they would have a pretty good base to follow, but there is actually a secret fourth source that does not come from vanilla Minecraft, nor is it butter based, that pretty much every horror mod, especially dweller mods, incorporate. Here's some examples. Cave Dweller, Warden plus Cave Noise. The Broken Script, just Herobrine, the one who watches. Warden and Herobrine. The Mimicker. Warden. All of these mods fit into these categories, sure, but there's clearly something missing that separates them from vanilla horror. Partly the fact that they're actually trying to scare the player, but it's also my belief that this missing element is Francis Fitzgerald Fazbear. What in God's name do I mean by that, you may ask? Well, if only you'd consult the second face of Scary Steve with me. Five Nights at Freddy's and its consequences have been a disaster for Generation Z. Listen, I'm a Gen Z, okay? I love FNAF as much as the next degenerate furry. But the way FNAF's form of horror has seeped into everything Gen Z creates needs to be studied. Let me explain what I mean. FNAF follows a rising tension form of horror, where you are placed into a tense environment with limited options and resources, where tension slowly escalates until you are relieved, either by winning or being jump scared. You know, flicking between cameras, flailing to figure out how to prevent these felt demons from entering your office and orifices. It's a very basic yet successful formula, and exists in a good chunk of horror, whether movies, video games, books, what have you, including pretty much all dweller type mods, where the entity makes their presence known. Tension then escalates over a given period of time before it inevitably jump scares you. Or you kill it. The time between the dweller making itself known and attacking you varies greatly from mod to mod. Some at a XX the penis snarfer XX has joined your game into the chat when you load up a world, then attack or crash your game days or weeks later. Others just spawn right next to you when you join a world, scream, then kill you. Is that understandable? Okay, cool. Because this is where I start the rant and tell you that this doesn't work in Minecraft. Horror movies and games can get away with this formula because they have a restricted environment, right? In a movie, you're locked into viewing a single curated viewpoint. In FNAF, you're bolted down into an office chair, and are only able to look at cameras and closed doors. Whereas in Minecraft, you can be literally anywhere, holding anything, doing whatever the fuck. And to go back to vanilla here, that's what makes the Warden such a cool light horror experience. It accounts for player freedoms in ways that reward your creativity, that other horror media either simply can't or doesn't want to do. Like, your typical first encounter with the Warden would go something like this. You enter the Deep Dark, and you start to think, wow, what is this cool place? Wow, what is that clicking noise? Wow, why can't I see anything anymore? Wow, what's that booming scream and footsteps coming in my direction? Then, after that harrowing experience, you come back to collect your stuff, and you slowly learn how to combat or run away from the Warden. And you know, the game is really smart about this too, because you might stumble into its first mechanic by accident. If you're a cowardly little baby person that crouched and walked away at any point during your first Warden encounter, then you immediately figured out its weakness. That only gets reinforced the longer you spend in the Deep Dark. This is what makes the Warden different from the FNAF model. It doesn't restrict your options. It expands them and gives you ways to counter it. I fucking love the Warden, man. He's my boy Blue. Or she, they, my boy Blue. I don't know. But it also exemplifies what makes these dweller mods so boring, underwhelming, and tedious. You know, simply because no dweller mod is as good as the Warden. All they are glorified creepers that are somehow even more annoying. They have the same gravitas too, because when you see a dweller, it's often like, oh, cool, a scary fella. You don't see that every day, in broad daylight, in a flowery plain, next to my penis-shaped monument. Of course, the creators of these dwellers know this, and restrict their spawning to certain conditions, which does work better, in theory. Let's take an example of what kicked off this whole trend, the cave dweller. The cave dweller exists to add a form to eerie cave noises, because if you hear a strange noise, you know the dweller is around. On the surface, or should I say, under the surface, heyo! This seems like a good place to put a spookum. But the thing about caves is that they're randomly generated, right? Sometimes you get the perfect, small, closed-off, narrow, spindly caves that the cave dweller can spawn behind and give you a good spook when you don't expect it. But oftentimes you get large, expansive caves where you can see everything coming at you from a mile away. And to top off even more randomness, there's no way to guarantee the cave dweller isn't going to spawn right in front of you. Which does make your first encounter with these freaks frightening, sure, but after that it quickly goes from pants-shittingly scary to a bit of a fucking lark, innit mate? And there's no greater mechanics or incentives to make subsequent encounters interesting. These mods simply don't take into account the player themselves, who could be on their very first mining journey with nothing but a stone pickaxe to their name, or they're completely murdered out to the tits with the best gear and anti-dweller technology, like a wooden boat. There simply is no good way for a dweller type entity to spawn that will be guaranteed scary the first time, let alone the second or the 10th. All of this could be solved, however, if you were to, say, make a deep dark type environment for the dweller to spawn in. But that goes against a fundamental ethos of dwellers, one that I'll get into a bit later in this rant. But also, think about it. Why make a cool little realm for your little demoned little baby that fits their lore, has interesting mechanics, and gives an actual reason to deal with a dweller, when instead you can make your Joe's in the garage looking motherfucker and put an already existing environment and adding a simple sporting condition. But if you want to put in 2% more effort, you can deploy your own anti-player measures to counteract the player. That's right folks, Scary Steve now also has a boat. This brings us to the third phase of Scary Steve. Stop antagonizing your players, please. It's equivalent to a DM in D&D who had a spat with one of their players that week and decided to create a totally random encounter with a slime ooze that directly counters the player the DM had an argument with. If your answer to the question, what to do about an open world, is to make your dweller unkillable, be able to crawl through 1-block gaps, break blocks, do a bajillion damage, climb and swim, then you didn't make a horror entity. You made a nuisance. Because if you assume the player is in full Neverite gear with appropriate anti-dweller tech, then most of the time when you don't have any of that, or don't have the knowledge, it blows major fazballs, is what I'm saying. I understand there's a balance these mod creators walk, where they don't want their dweller to be too weak, because then they're not scary, and if they're too strong, then they're also not scary, just annoying. But luckily for you intrepid mod creators that I've been mostly insulting for this video, there are already good examples of how to walk this line. You're never going to guess. It's the Warden again, who is like one of the strongest entities in vanilla Minecraft, but can also spawn in large numbers, overwhelm you, blind you, can shoot a beam that deals a Wardelian damage and goes through walls. But all of these have ways around them. For one, the Warden is very easy to run away from once you know how, and you learn that just by existing near the Warden, watching how and where it moves, noticing the carpet in the deep dark city, and that the Warden can't hear you if you walk on it. Also, it's nice knowing it's restricted to one area, It isn't going to just appear outside your Volvo dirt monument one day. The Warden is a challenge, yes, but it's a challenge the game wants you to overcome. It's not, say, the man from the fog, who spawns randomly from a bolt of lightning, and chases the player like me when I see the cuck chair at a motel, where you have to act quickly through trial and error to find out what does and does not work. It's scary the first time, sure. It only gets scarier each time you learn something doesn't work. But that's only the first encounter, of which it is almost guaranteed to kill you in, with no real recourse. Every time after that just sucks. Which is fine, if all you care about is the first or second encounter, and then uninstalling the mod and trying a new one. But if you're the type of guy who wants to add a secret scrimblow to your modded server, or you just want some extra horror element added to your Minecraft world, then these are problems that just can't be solved. Because for one, solving the issue would require more effort than just making a spooky guy, scouring your comment sections for people saying, "Aha, I beat Daring Devon using this method," and then patching out said method, but also, it is a problem at the very core of Minecraft horror mods. Bringing us to the fourth face of Scary Steve, why? What does being in Minecraft add to these mods? Or what do they actually add to your Minecraft experience? Right? Let's zoom out here and look at other Minecraft mods, taking Mine Colonies as example. It's a mod that adds city building in Minecraft, allowing you to make your own custom settlements that grow on their own over time. You think doing a colonialism on villages normally was getting a bit stale? Well, now you can go full gung-ho into this mod, mining and crafting all in the goal of making a bigger and better city. Or it can just be a side thing, a village you visit occasionally from your journeys to dump off and collect resources from. Mine Colonies uses Minecraft as a base to build on, right? If it were to be its own game, then it would have to create an open world, resource gathering and crafting systems, and a whole bunch of other tomfoolery. You get where I'm going here? Mods like Mine Colonies are built off the strengths of Minecraft, whereas most horror mods are like mini-games overlaid on top. It's like if the game paused, opened up a tab in Opera GX TM, opened up itch.io, downloaded a random horror game, and made you play it for like 5 minutes. So of course, the dissociation comes from the fact most Dweller mods just aren't very good, like even compared to the bottom of the barrel itch.io horror game. But what are the horror mods that are good, you might ask? Or at the very least, try to be. Let's take some examples. First up is the Mimicker mod, which is pretty much just a scary guy that chases you and kills you. But with one little difference, it does make it better, or at least trying to be better than 99% of other Dweller mods, is that it monologues its entire backstory to you while it chases you.
Ah! Where is he?
Which, like I said, it's not much, but it's better than just dumping all your lore to the mod page. Because yes, feeding your character's wiki lore into a chatbot that spews it out makes it feel more real than your bog standard spookum. But in this case, it just makes the Dweller far more funny than scary. Okay. How about a Dweller that actually integrates into the world, and has more depth to their stalking mechanics? The One Who Watches is a mod that my friend swears up and down is an actually good horror mod. And that is largely because the mod has patience, only spawning the lanky fellow after a couple of days to let you sit in. And as a plus, the mod generates random structures to add context to the lanky fellow, through ruined campsites, diaries, and the like. Next is its stalking mechanics, which, again, show restraint that most Dwellers do not. It will spawn randomly around you, or appear in holes you've dug, watching you from afar, getting closer and closer, making strange cracking noises all the while, until finally, you hear your own heartbeat, your vision narrows, and now, the real chase begins. Which is just a standard chase. It can climb and enter 1 block wide holes, but other than that, it's pretty shrimple. Overall, it's a pretty dang cool mod. It would make for a great 30-minute itch.io horror game experience, but ultimately that's all it really is to me. Because actually trying to play in a world with this lanky arsehole is hellish. He constantly stalks you, jump scares you, blinds you and kills you. it becomes unbearable after a day or so, while still having the issue of just spawning in the middle of a field. Like, I don't care if he's technically watching me. I'm watching you too, asshole. And your fucking gaming posture makes me laugh. Ultimately, this is the core of my gripe with these horror mods. They simply aren't Minecraft horror mods. To me, a mod is something that both modifies, as in the name, and enhances the experience of the game. Most of these mods just add an obstacle that gives you nothing for conquering it. Only thing they give you is a cheap jump scare. They build off nothing in Minecraft, and if it's something you can make without Minecraft, why make it at all? If you don't get what I mean, here are a couple more examples that I think get as close as possible to what I believe is actual Minecraft horror. First is that fuck-ass Herobrine mod. Can't remember the name of it, you know, the one that has Herobrine spawn at the corner of your eye before quickly vanishing. It messes with the world in other more subtle ways too, but the thing I remember it for is teleporting Herobrine. It's a small addition that doesn't punish you for installing it, and gives you a little jolt of adrenaline occasionally. You know, you can add it to a vanilla or a modded world and have it enhance your experience. Make your friend jump into lava or something and you can laugh at him. But if you want something that follows this style, but is way more in your face about it, we have the Broken Script, a mod that follows the .exe horror trope, a meta entity that is actively corrupting your game. You'll first notice it when you see, "Nell has joined your world." Creepy. And from there, the spookums only escalate. The moon will change night by night to be a more corrupted version. You will see weird anomalies around your world. Villagers acting strange, blocks out of place and not where they should be. And strangely, a mysterious black entity will spawn in the corner of your vision. Except, it doesn't vanish if you look at it. It will stay there, and if you decide to investigate it, the entity will corrupt your game even further. Now you can probably tell by the description that this isn't exactly a mod you can add to your, now that's what I call Minecraft 22, modded world, especially given some of the later events that can happen. But it's the most robust horror mod I've seen for Minecraft, and yet, in my mind, it's still not enough. It falls down the same trap as every other Dweller mod, where this could exist as a standalone horror game, with the likes of No Player Online or Kinito Pet. So, they got me thinking, what if you were able to combine the meta, background spooky events of Broken Script, but combine it with the unintrusiveness of their one Herobrine mod? Well, for that, I ask you to join me on the fifth and last face of Scary Steve, an actually good Minecraft horror mod. I've talked a tough game about how every horror mod creator is stupid and should feel bad about their creations. And while I personally think that was a fun and worthwhile endeavor, you know, belittling developers who get paid nothing, I understand that some people would like to see what I have to offer to this idea of a true Minecraft horror game. And luckily for my lazy ass, I don't have to make a mod from scratch to showcase what I mean, because of a little known game called Voices of the Void, which pretty much does exactly what I've been asking for this whole video. VOTV, as I'll be calling it, is a game heavily inspired by a different game called Signal Simulator. They follow the same formula of working in some satellite facility in the middle of nowhere, discovering and processing different sounds from space that can range from the planet Mars to a gosh darn spitting rotating cuboid. But where VOTV and Signal Simulator diverge is that VOTV is a little more open and gets a little silly with it. You realize pretty quickly you're not the only person doing the watching, as exemplified by the mannequins taking a joyride outside your window at night. And when you explore your compound, you see strange anomalies, like spooky deserted cabins, a cave that opens only at night, large holes in the ground that seemingly have no bottom. But that's just the stuff that was there already. Pretty soon, you're not the only sentient form of life that has moved into this compound. A group of aliens set up a treehouse near you to do God knows what. Well, actually, we know exactly what they're doing. They're there to fuck around and find out. Drawing graffiti on your house, putting banana peels on your doorstep, leaving a trail of strange brownies that make your character a little jittery, to say the least. out of all the things VOTV does great, what among them is balancing both horror and comedy. Because, here's a little known fact horror snobs don't want you to know, it goes really gosh darn good with a little chuckle on the side. It's like a steak with a nice strange stew. It is this experience I want out of Minecraft, so let me break down how I think it would work. First off, much like the Nell mod, when you start your world, or like a week later, I don't know, you will see in your chat Chuckle D and Phalangulus Flave have joined your game. What's important, I think, is that it has to be more than one entity, you know, to give variety to the spooks and chuckles all the same. Then, after they join, you start to see a bunch of weird stuff around your world. Caves with torches already in them, half-built / destroyed structures, pillagers that spawn in and seem to go in a different direction than the player. This is all quite ominous so far, so this is when the goofy stuff starts, like maybe hearing a TNT explosion at night, you going to investigate the noise, only to discover that someone had fucked up building a TNT cannon aimed at your house, or some other structure. You know those death messages where you see so-and-so died in lava while finding a magma cube? Well, what if you start seeing those too, and they are either completely random, or are tied to something that the entity is trying to do. Like if they're messing around in a village, you'll see Chuckle D died to 4 damage while fighting an iron golem, you know? Stuff like that. And another idea that would be cribbed straight from VOTV is a karma system. You see, in that game, there are certain events tied to how you treat the aliens. If you're nice to them, they'll leave you a delicious, succulent shrimp burger. And if you're mean, they'll mess up your base and throw a bunch of shit everywhere. Usually while you're distracted by some other prank they pulled on you. So, in this Minecraft mod, I think it'd be fun if occasionally you'd see a chest spawn outside your base with a book inside. The chest also contains some form of goodie, while the book reads out broken English that looks corrupted but is understandable. But if you piss these entities off, this is probably a really bad idea and doesn't jive with my desire to have this mod in a normal mod pack. But I just love the idea of one day you see a sign with an angry face on it. Next week, you see a failed wither multi-block on your front lawn, using soul sand and normal skeleton heads. I think you know where this is going. If you continue to be in bad standing with the entities, they will actually spawn a wither not too far from your base. Again, you probably couldn't do this if you wanted a normal Minecraft experience, but you know, the idea is there. This brings me to my final idea for this mod. You can actually explore the structures these entities create. You never find one they're currently occupying. They could be like a final boss or something, but the longer you stay in this world, you do find more and more remnants. Inside them is loot for the player to collect, as well as corrupted remains. Like normal mobs from vanilla Minecraft, but they don't work quite how they're supposed to. Like zombies that take reduced damage from swords, yet also get dealt triple damage when you hit them with a fish. Or a cow that acts as an indestructible wall like bedrock, that you need to give an item like a bucket of milk for it to disappear. And it's like blocking a hallway or something. I think of these entities as like silly pixie type creatures. Well yeah, they're kind of around for harmless fun and kind of stupid with what they do, but they are actively corrupting your world, and seem pretty hostile to whatever it is you are doing. And it's through all of these ideas combined that I think you can make the best Minecraft horror mod. You know, me being humble and all. It's scary and eerie without being too in your face, using meta elements to instill a sense of dread, while also not having it become the focus of your experience, like any other mod in a mod pack. If you don't want to fuck around with Chuckle D and Phalangulus Flave, you simply do not have to, working both as a supplement to your Minecraft experience, while offering enough meat to fully sink your teeth into. For a name, you can call it something like Crafters of the Mine, or Miners of the Craft, or Miners in a Mine looking for miners. Maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. Or you can just call it whatever you want. Because if you are someone who saw this video and got inspired, hey man, you're going to do 99% of the work, you can name the mod whatever the hell you want. Don't get played by a schmuck like me who can barely write a video. Anyway, that's my rant on why most Minecraft horror mods have failed so far. and a potential panacea for those who still want a true Minecraft horror mod. I got nothing else to talk about here, besides to give shoutouts to those whose footage I snatched, because I was either too lazy or too scared to collect my own for some of these mods. You may ask, hey, wait a minute, if you yourself were scared of these dweller mods, doesn't that defeat the entire point of this video? And to that I say,